This is Witchspace News for Friday the 13th of March 2026. I'm Commander Buur. In Elite Dangerous news this week, Frontier give a shout out to a cool homemade button box. There's a new tool for 3D visualization of the galaxy's minor factions, and are NPCs finally about to get access to the new generation of starships. If you enjoy our videos, consider subscribing to the channel and remember to ding the little bell to make sure you see all our content and community posts. And if you'd like to help support our channel, links to our Patreon and everything else are in the description below. The official Elite Dangerous account tweeted this week to highlight the work of Commander Nash076 on Reddit, who has designed and built their own physical button box to work alongside our favourite genre-defining space combat and trading simulator. A commander making their own physical button box for Elite Dangerous is not super unusual, and it's a subject that rears its head and does the rounds in the community on a semi-regular basis. But the effort that Commander Nash076 has gone to is of particular note, and the rest of the Reddit thread, and indeed the Twitter responses, turned into examples of other commanders showing off and talking about their ever more elaborate setups, including lots of useful tips, links and guides for anyone interested in creating their own cockpit accessories. For a few rare commanders, it doesn't just stop at button boxes however. We featured on this channel before the work of Commander Wacko of Project Simstarr on YouTube. Project Simstarr is a custom built full motion simulator rig that focuses almost entirely on Elite Dangerous. You'll find links to Commander Nash076's button box thread on Reddit and the YouTube channel of Project Simstarr linked in the description below this video. Viewing the true galactic reach and scale of a minor faction in Elite Dangerous has always been a challenging thing. Whilst there are plenty of filters on the galactic map for singling out specific information, showing the known locations that feature one of the galaxy's hundreds of minor factions, let alone a faction you're personally invested in or even a player owned minor faction, is impossible. Luckily, sites like Inara and Spanch have taken the data made available by Frontier, as well as a myriad of player collected and aggregated data, and turned that information into a useful searchable resource. Commander LCU No Fool Like One of Canonn Interstellar Research has however now gone one step further. Using his recently refined toolset on the Canonn website, you are able to search out, highlight and then explore the length, breadth and depth of a specific faction in the galaxy, and then display that information overlaid into a 3D movable map. You can see an example of the map on screen now, showing not only systems that a faction owns, but also systems where it is merely present. You can also target a specific star system and see what factions are present within it, and also where it sits in relation to a given faction that you might be interested in. The map also shows any permit locked zones that players currently don't have access to. If you or your player group or squadron are working the BGS or the colonization system, or you're just plain curious to see where a faction has spread, then it's an invaluable and extremely easy to use tool. You'll find a link to LCU's Canonn Tech map in the description below this video. The Galnet in-game and in-universe news service lit up this week to both herald and celebrate the wrapping up of the community goal that has been running for the last 2 weeks. To itself, both herald and celebrate the launch of the latest new ship to enter the game, the Core Dynamics Kestrel Mark II. You may remember that for participation, the Kestrel CG was rewarding a Kestrel paint job, a Core Dynamics decal and a bag of credits. For commanders in the top 75% however, the CG was additionally rewarding a fully engineered C-rated kill warrant scanner with fast scan and long range modifications. As of this recording, those CG rewards have not yet arrived into commanders' accounts. However, there was one other nugget of information in the article that is itself extremely important and bodes well for the future shape and flavour of the game universe we all inhabit. After mentioning the significant success of the Kestrels field trials at the tail end of the piece, the article notes that not only had Core Dynamics planned to build a successor to the ubiquitous Eagle Mark II, that ship now being the Kestrel Mark II, but also that following the success of the CG, they are stating that the Federal Navy and independent combat pilots alike are predicted to adopt the Kestrel as their small fighter of choice. This is the biggest hint yet that we've seen that NPCs will start using any of the new ships that have arrived since Elite's rebirth in 2024. What precisely the article defines as independent combat pilots is open to interpretation. That could mean us commanders, or it could mean independently aligned NPCs. There can be little debate however over the meaning of Federal Navy. It's entirely possible then that this one Galnet piece could be signalling the phasing out of the diminutive Eagle Mark II from the entire Federal arsenal at the very least, and introducing a new, tough, fast, agile and importantly supercruise overcharge capable ship to the toolset of NPCs. Does this mean that Fedi NPCs are suddenly about to become seriously overpowered for anyone not running a next gen vessel? Not necessarily, no. Any competent human pilot will be able to attest that just because a ship has some chops, it doesn't follow that it's unstoppable in the hands of just anyone, and this has never been more true than with a twitchy murder nugget like the Kestrel. Ultimately, Frontier can make any ship in the hands of an NPC either a complete horror story to fight or a bag full of kittens, just by turning a few dials behind the scenes at the gleaming towers of Elite Dangerous HQ. So fear not if combat is not your speciality. As soon as we hear any more, we will of course let you know right here. What hardware do you use to control your ship of choice in the game? Will you be using LCU's Canonn map technology to view your faction's colonisation expansion? And what ships would you like to see the NPCs flying in the game the most? Let us know in the comments below. That's it for now. Thanks very much for watching. We'll be back later this week with more videos. Until then, 07 Commanders, follow the greens on the way out and do keep clear of the toast rack. We very much look forward to seeing you next time.